Sometimes when you innovate, you make mistakes. It is best to admit them quickly, and get on with improving your other innovations. Being the richest man in the cemetery doesn't matter to me. Going to bed at night saying we've done something wonderful. That's what matters to me. We've gone through the operating system and looked at everything and asked how can we simplify this and make it more powerful at the same time. Be a yardstick of quality. Some people aren't used to an environment where excellence is expected. I want to put a ding in the universe. I was worth over $1 million when I was 23, and over $10 million when I was 24, and over $100 million when I was 25, and it wasn't that important because I never did it for the money. The Japanese have hit the shores like dead fish. They're just like dead fish washing up on the shores. Unfortunately, people are not rebelling against Microsoft. They don't know any better. Bill Gates'd be a broader guy if he had dropped acid once or gone off to an ashram when he was younger. The only problem with Microsoft is they just have no taste. They have absolutely no taste, and I don't mean that in a small way, I mean that in a big way, in the sense that they don't think of original ideas, and they don't bring much culture into their products. My job is to not be easy on people. My job is to make them better. We made the buttons on the screen look so good you'll want to lick them. Click. Boom. Amazing. You can't just ask customers what they want and then try to give that to them. By the time you get it built, they'll want something new. Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. Why join the Navy if you can be a pirate? A lot of companies have chosen to downsize, and maybe that was the right thing for them. We chose a different path. Our belief was that if we kept putting great products in front of customers, they would continue to open their wallets. Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. Recruiting is hard. It's just finding the needles in the haystack. You can't know enough in a 1-hour interview. So, in the end, it's ultimately based on your gut. How do I feel about this person? What are they like when they're challenged? I ask everybody that. Why are you here? The answers themselves are not what you're looking for. It's the metadata. We've had one of these before, when the dot-com bubble burst. What I told our company was that we were just going to invest our way through the downturn, that we weren't going to lay off people, that we'd taken a tremendous amount of effort to get them into Apple in the first place. The last thing we were going to do is lay them off. I mean, some people say, oh, God, if got run over by a bus, Apple would be in trouble. And, you know, I think it wouldn't be a party. But there are really capable people at Apple. My job is to make the whole executive team good enough to be successors, so that's what I try to do. It's not about pop culture, and it's not about fooling people, and it's not about convincing people that they want something they don't. We figure out what we want, and I think we're pretty good at having the right discipline to think through whether a lot of other people are going to want it, too. That's what we get paid to do. We just want to make great products. So when a good idea comes, you know, part of my job is to move it around, just see what different people think, get people talking about it, argue with people about it. Get ideas moving among that group of 100 people, get different people together to explore different aspects of it quietly, and, you know, just explore things. When I hire somebody really senior, competence is the ante. They have to be really smart. But the real issue for me is, are they going to fall in love with Apple? Because if they fall in love with Apple, everything else will take care of itself. They'll want to do what's best for Apple, not what's best for them. What's best for Steve, or anybody else. This actually reiterates my oft-repeated mantra of ubiquitous evangelism in companies. People think focus means saying yes to the thing you've got to focus on. But that's not what it means at all. It means saying no to the 100 other good ideas that there are. You have to pick carefully. Our DNA is as a consumer company, for that individual customer who's voting thumbs up or thumbs down. That's who we think about. And we think that our job is to take responsibility for the complete user experience, and if it's not up to par, it's our fault, plain and simply. That happens more than you think, because this is not just engineering and science. There is art, too. Sometimes when you're in the middle of one of these crises, you're not sure you're going to make it to the other end. But we've always made it, and so we have a certain degree of confidence, although sometimes you wonder. I think the key thing is that we're not all terrified at the same time. I mean, we do put our heart and soul into these things. We don't get a chance to do that many things, and everyone should be really excellent. Because this is our life. And we've all chosen to do this with our lives. So it better be damn good. It better be worth it. Almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes. The ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the only thing you can't do is ignore them because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius, because the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world, are the ones who do. In most people's vocabularies, design means veneer. It's interior decorating. It's the fabric of the curtains of the sofa. But to me, nothing could be further from the meaning of design. Design is the fundamental soul of a human-made creation that ends up expressing itself in successive outer layers of the product or service. So we went to Atari and said, "Hey, we've got this amazing thing, even built with some of your parts, and what do you think about funding us? Or we'll give it to you. We just want to do it. Pay our salary, we'll come work for you." And they said, "No." So then we went to Hewlett-Packard, and they said, "Hey, we don't need you. You haven't got through college yet." The people who are doing the work are the moving force behind the Macintosh. My job is to create a space for them, to clear out the rest of the organization and keep it at bay. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice, and most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. I'm the only person I know that's lost $250 million in 1 year. It's very character building. I'm as proud of what we don't do as I am of what we do. Quality is more important than quantity. 1 home run is much better than 2 doubles. I've always wanted to own and control the primary technology in everything we do. It comes from saying no to 1,000 things to make sure we don't get on the wrong track or try to do too much. It's really hard to design products by focus groups. A lot of times, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. Innovation has nothing to do with how many R&D dollars you have. When Apple came up with the Mac, IBM was spending at least 100 times more on R&D. It's not about money. It's about the people you have, how you're led, and how much you get it. Insanely great. Steve Jobs' description for the Macintosh computer. I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. It's rare that you see an artist in his 30s or 40s able to really contribute something amazing. I feel like somebody just punched me in the stomach and knocked all my wind out. I'm only 30 years old and I want to have a chance to continue creating things. I know I've got at least one more great computer in me. And Apple is not going to give me a chance to do that. I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. Less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. Do you want to spend the rest of your life selling sugar and water, or do you want a chance to change the world? The products suck. There's no sex in them anymore. The cure for Apple is not cost cutting. The cure for Apple is to innovate its way out of its current predicament. If I were running Apple, I would milk the Macintosh for all it's worth, and get busy on the next great thing. The PC wars are over. Done. Microsoft won a long time ago. You know, I've got a plan that could rescue Apple. I can't say any more than that it's the perfect product and the perfect strategy for Apple. But nobody there will listen to me. Apple has some tremendous assets, but I believe without some attention, the company could, I'm searching for the right word, could die.